What's going on there, guys? So, got a wild idea and set on it for about a week about doing rear steer on this. You saw in the video earlier in the video I got the rear shock tower made. I just used a bunch of the carbon fiber chassis pieces that we had. It came with this kit and I just hacked them up and bolted them together with some scale hardware and made some raised shock towers and some dropped lower back brackets here. If I can get the camera to show you. Just won't focus. It's not wanting to go down all the way. I may have to readjust the shock mounts and stuff, but right now it's on and it's working. I don't have the air ride hooked up, but I do have the steering hooked up. I waited a week. It's been a week since I did the shock tower. I was going to run this weekend to find a servo at the hobby shop. Went to 3 hobby shops and nobody had basic servos. It's like, how ridiculous is that? We wonder why hobby shops are going away. They don't have anything in stock. I didn't want to order online. I didn't want to have to wait. So I waited a few days and went, and nobody had anything but really expensive. I mean, I'm talking like $180 ProTech servos, stuff like that. They didn't have any ooh, thunder. They didn't have any basic stuff. So I was really disappointed. But I robbed this old high-tech, just plastic gear servo out of one of my old Tamiya buggies. And it'll do the job. It's not the best looking piece, but it's going to be mounted, tucked away into the cab because of the way I did this, and I just looked into it. We've got the perfect amount of steering back here, and it will turn with everything all the way down on the ground. It's not perfectly centered because I'm just running this off of the mud truck right now because I don't have any other electronics for this thing. I don't want to adjust my trim and stuff on that, but it's just off a hair, so it'll be easy to adjust on the radio. But I used the stock steering rack, and that was, I just saw that laying on my table in there. I've got all the FJ9 parts laid out, and I was, I've been going through it, picking through it, trying to utilize as much of that kit as I can to put back on here. Just going to re-engineer it to fit my needs. All right, I think you can see that pretty well. So I just reused the entire steering mechanism, drilled some new holes in the chassis, and carbon fiber link between the 2 arms. And I've had some issues because of the amount of suspension travel we're going to have for the tie rods for the steering, and it may still need some tweaking. I've sat there for about an hour just adjusting the shims and the spacers between the plastic in here, trying to get it to where it's not in a bind going all the way down. If I move this inner tie rod to the top, it works great, but when we raise it up, it puts the angle terrible. So if I put them both on top, it's terrible all the way down, just like it, So it's kind of catch-22. It's just going to be a matter of, once this thing's fully loaded, motor, air ride kit, ESC, speed controller, battery, once we cram all that in the cab, how much weight do we have that will actually push this down about 4 millimeter it needs to go. It's going to need some weight to keep it down. So it's going to be a battle like it was with the Ratrod ramp truck, but not nearly as extreme, I don't imagine, because this is a tighter, compact package. It's not going to weigh as much. Lifting is not going to be the problem. It's going to be strictly just getting it to drop all the way. And like I said, we can adjust. I've made those carbon fiber. I actually just used some existing parts. Just put some new holes in it. The carbon fiber little angles here to drop the bottom shock mount way down, almost on the ground. It's level with the bottom of the chassis. So that allowed those long Pro Air struts to have a little more room without sticking up really high in the back, because that would look terrible. But I mean, when the steering is straight, we've got almost 0 toe in, and when it's aired up, it's about the same. It's better than it was with the factory settings without the rear steer. But the kit came with all this. I mean, this is how it was set up. The rear had a tie rod for adjustability, so you could adjust your toe in and toe out, and you can adjust your camber and everything. And I figured, why not just make that steering. Up front, I still don't have a clue about the front steering. This was a big step, though, getting the rear struts mounted. The front is going to be definitely a challenge for both steering and air suspension. I don't think I'm going to be happy with just putting air springs on the back. It's going to need to be on all four. And there's really no way to do it without doing some sort of cantilever type arm thing. I toyed with some ideas earlier in the week, but nothing that's the geometry is going to work with. This is not going to give us a whole lot of lift. This is probably full lock. We're looking at 15 millimeter max, which is really perfect. We don't need a whole lot. That way you're not trying to fine tune the ride height. You just hit the button, air it up, it'll go up, and you just leave it. That's it. You don't need to, like the Ratrod ramp truck, it was, you know, if I'm going to do a whole lot of sharp turns, I need to air the front up more. And it made trying to get the suspension geometry a lot trickier. This, you're kind of dumbing down the length of the shock, so we're reducing the amount of lift we're getting, as well as the amount of length that's hanging up out top. And yeah. So I'm thinking, I didn't even check this yet. The servo is completely underneath the cab. All you see is the arm sticking out. I haven't tried to check that yet. That actually worked out really well. So that's all you got is the mechanism out here. And that's cool because that was kind of a dead space. There's not really going to be anything there. I can't really put a battery out here on the outside. But I don't know. I'm kind of digging the way this build is going. We're kind of future rat rod thing going. I don't know what we're going to do. I might do some kind of bed. I feel like we need a little bit more rust, a little more patina to go. The chassis is all aluminum carbon. And I mean, I'm using scale hardware. I've got aluminum spacers. I'm keeping it all as much of the original stuff as I can. So I feel like the body needs a little assistance other than just the grill and the cab. We might do some sort of bed. I don't know how that would play with the turning radius, but I don't want a whole lot of steer. That's another thing that's going to be a challenge for me, is figuring out how to set the proportion on the steering so the rear doesn't apply as much as the front. Because we don't need, I mean, that's plenty of rear steer right there. We need just a little bit. So, I don't know. That's something I haven't done a whole lot with electronics. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I've been working on this for a couple weeks, and I feel like this is good enough progress to call it an episode and put it on YouTube and let you guys see it. Again, we're not going to have any windows and stuff in the cab that you can see through. Everything's going to be enclosed because that proairrc kit, the little module with the pumps and compressor and stuff in it, is big, and we still have stuff, a battery in there, normal ESC receiver, and even using a little mini lipo and stuff, it's going to be up in the cab area. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet for the windows of the cab. We're going to have to do something kind of slick to keep the Ratrod modern look while not bringing notice to what's inside, because it's all going to be business inside. I can't have any kind of interior in this at all. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up. I appreciate y'all watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Follow along on Instagram and Facebook, #RC everyday. Keep it scale, and I'll see y'all in the next video.